Okay, so right now, the Gaja stuff is it's really interesting, and at the same time, I'm for it, but I really am hoping that the anime tweaks on it a little bit when they eventually get to it, because this will be like the first large character death, I'd say, like right in the series, because we've had like some characters dead, but we haven't had any like really big characters end up, or like, at least for protagonists, dying in the series. And Gaja, I don't think there's really a way to save him. He not only just used up all his life force, he's got a big hole in his torso that Lola Petrica put, and he's in such a state. Even if he somehow lives after this attack, I would assume that he would immediately die, like beyond it, from regardless of like the state he's in right now. But like he's in a spot where I would assume that characters just doing attacks, like if the fight continues, say like Nozel or Dorothy or whoever the fuck shows up in the next chapter or in the future of this fight, like if a stray attack comes Gaja's way, I don't even think it would have to directly hit him. I think that the shockwave of it would kill him, because he is damaged, because his spell also did more damage to him. He had a hole in his chest, he's up all his life force, and he looks just burnt. He just looks like he's scalded and not, obviously not holding up so well. And the focus on the chapter really is Gaja, because this is pretty much just a Gaja chapter. Noelle doesn't get a whole lot of the spotlight. Like Magiko talks a little bit at the start. Vonica hasn't said a word in a couple chapters. She's just over there as a silhouette looking person. She's just completely coated black with only her one eye visible. Actually, one thing I did notice is from the attack on Vonica, that, well, at least that she was in it. Oh, actually, two things. Oh, well, I'll get to the second thing, but the first thing is, like, if you look at Vonica's leg, I'm curious to know if this is anything, I don't know about important, but maybe a little bit of a hint at something coming up, because like one of her legs, like from the right side calf down, is not black. It's not like that completely coated layer that she's got on the rest of her body. So I'm wondering if maybe the effect is wearing off, or whatever it is. Maybe it's literally just like that leg is outside the beam of lightning. I don't really know. But I was going to say, Megicula, I assume, is going to survive. This might just be something that kind of really cripples her or gets her in a more serious state, because at the end of the chapter, we see her silhouette in like a smoke cloud, and I really like the silhouette, but it's like we see what looks like her wings are out. We see, like, I would assume her dress is like way more kind of like flowing around as she's moving, and her tail's out. But Vonica, I feel like Vonica has to be dead. I don't know. I don't feel like Vonica should be able to tank this. Because though I don't think it killed Megicula, I mean, obviously, we don't know for a fact, because, like, it's the end of the chapter, and we see a silhouette, but it like, under the assumption that, like, say that Tamada decided that she was dead, he could literally have, like, her die in the next couple panels of the next chapter. But I don't think she's dead. But she definitely highly got damaged. We know her heart should still be there. And there are two things I definitely wanted to input on that, because we do see her heart in the chapter. I didn't notice that at first. Like, when we see the lightning kind of, like, decay her body, she's got her heart in her head. It's not like her brain. It's just like her double heart. The Twin Devils didn't have hearts that they had to get targeted, did they? I don't think so. I just remember Asta dicing them up. Like, he just completely sliced them up. But, yeah, Vonica should not be alive. I feel like Monica should not be alive whatsoever. Because something that does this much damage to Megicula, I feel like should be so far beyond Vonica's level to withstand that she's done. And she's not like Dante. Like if this was Dante, that leg that seems to be outside the, the lightning beam or whatever, I'd be like, oh, he's going to regenerate from that or something. I don't think Vonica can do that. Like, logically, Vonica and Xenon would have a degree, somewhat, of, like, healing. We've seen blood magic can heal in Black Clover, but, like, logically, like, say, even down to the idea of, like, regenerating from, like, blood. Like, some characters do it. I don't think Vonica could do that whatsoever. We've never seen anything that would indicate that she could do that. And if she did, it would kind of, I feel like it would belittle Dante's regen a little bit. But if she's not dead, there's no way she's getting back up. She just got hit with this massive ultimate magic lightning blast that completely overpowered Megicula's decaying world. And this Megicula isn't, she's not fully complete. Like, we know that she has to have Lolo and Vonica die in order to do that, which, if Vonica's dead, actually, maybe that's it. Maybe he just killed Vonica, and that just made Megicula more powerful, and that's how she's going to survive, or at least, like, kind of, like, come out of this attack. I guess that actually would make a lot of sense. And I don't think Gaja would really be thinking about it. When I saw the spoilers, I thought when he was doing that electricity thing on Lola Petrica, I thought he was, like, putting out of her misery or something, and I was just like, oh, shit, dude, what are you doing? Because when I saw it, my thoughts weren't, like, what's going through his head while he's doing this? What's the reason he would do this? Like, I hadn't realized, like, oh, he's just pretty much paralyzing her, giving her the old Pokemon effect. He's pretty much using Thunder Wave. But I was just like, he can't kill her because that's just going to make things worse with Megicula, because of Megicula's whole setup that's been going on with her, whatever she called it. Let me pull up the thing, because I remember she gave it a name of when she came through. It was like this really weird kind of titling to it. Didn't she? I think she gave it a name. Yeah, Malevolent Femcantation is what she called it. But Gaja is not looking good. Like, he's definitely roasted. And this is actually, I would say, for a chapter that's only, like 11 pages, I think this was one of those chapters where even with 11 pages, there's enough of a topic that came out of it to really, like, last the portion of this week to next week for the chapters. Because Gaja's status, like his magic, obviously the whole Life Force thing that's going on, because his grimoire's not there anymore, and your grimoire is linked to you. That's one of the reasons why a lot of people didn't think Yuno died when Xenon skewered him at the Golden Dawn base, because his grimoire was still there, so we knew that he should still be alive. Whereas Gaja's grimoire is gone. He just said that he used up all his Life Force. He had a hole punctured through his chest. I don't think that he's I don't even think he's going to make it out of this arc. I feel like he's not even going to make it out of this battle. Like, he might just die next chapter. But one thing I was mentioning that I would really like the anime to improve upon is, I like Gaja. Gaja's reason for doing everything for Lola Petrica, it's very simple, but to me it makes a lot of sense, because it's not like he's just some guy who's like, oh, I like this girl Lola Petrica, I'm going to dedicate myself to her. No, like, she's the queen of his country, and he's the strongest fighter of their whole military, of, their military of like 5 people. But, like, he's the strongest fighting force in the kingdom. We know his mindset of he in his head, he's got to be all the power, pretty much everything offensive capably that he can be, so he can make up for Lola Petrica's, like, lack of offensive ability, so she can stay the way she is, similar to how Undine was doing it. But obviously Gaja's just focused on himself, becoming the blade for the Heart Kingdom, so they could still kind of, like, keep themselves together, and Lola Petrica wouldn't have to ever be burdened with kind of, like, altering who she is for the kingdom, which is, it's really weird, because I personally, like, I can understand Undine and Gaja's reasoning for it, but I feel like it'd be better for Lola Petrica, I think, as an individual, to have to kind of adjust who she is for the sake of her kingdom, because though she is her own character, she has a role and responsibility, like a duty to her kingdom, and it's one of those things, I'd say, that the Lola Petrica situation, it's similar to, like, the stuff that went on with William and Patri. Though, like, you can have a stance on it, I think it really depends on, like, what angle you look at it, because for Lola Petrica, like I said, it's easy to understand why they wouldn't want her to have to kind of, like, lose that really pure, kind personality, but at the same time, like, she is the queen, and she does also have a responsibility to keep her people safe, It's a really weird spot, because she is both a queen and she is a person. And I think it, depending on which one somebody values more, is they could easily, like, sway to what side they really view everything that went on with Lola Petrica. Like, from that one point, your stance can definitely change on either you think that maybe, like, they were selfish for not doing anything with her, because we know Lola Petrica, she wasn't the one really to blame for this. It was more Undine. But, like, you can understand Undine, but also you can be very much against what she was doing, or you can kind of be for it. It's a very weird topic. I feel like it's similar to Williams, where it really just depends on your own views and your own approach to the topic itself, rather than like a debate of who's right and who's wrong. Like, whereas one could be fully, yeah, this is absolute versus like, this is a perspective-based thing. But I did like the chapter, and I did like Gaja's whole setup in response and like how he viewed everything kind of going on. I do, what I'm saying though is I want the anime to add a little bit more stuff, because though I do like Gaja, and I do think that because of his position, it's very it's very easy to understand why he would be so dedicated. Like, this is his queen. Like, he, not only that, he is in his mind like the sword of the Heart Kingdom, and he wants to protect his queen and his kingdom and do everything he possibly can. So it doesn't need to have like a crazy deep thing. He doesn't need to have like all these events in his backstory and all this deep emotional connections to all these different things to be doing what he's doing, because in like the very core of it, he's doing his job. Like, there's a little bit more to it, like, is obviously like the way that he sees himself, obviously towards like the Heart Kingdom, Lolopechka, and all these things. But at the core of it, he's doing his job. He's fighting for his kingdom, he's fighting for his queen, and he's doing everything he can for it. He's putting his life on the line for all these things. He's fully fine giving up his life for his queen and for his kingdom and whatnot. And I find that very respectful about Gaja as well. I definitely like him a lot more after this chapter, and I think that the anime can really improve upon this by just giving us little chunks of Gaja's character up before this happens in the anime. Like, say we get like during that period while they're training before they do the whole Spade invasion, like if we got like a Gaja chapter, and then maybe like episode, and then say like between that point and this point, however many episodes in the anime, you get like little extra, like maybe a couple little backstory minutes with Gaja, see a little bit more into his character, because I think with his death, it's not like, I don't have a problem obviously with him dying as much as I do, like I said, I do like his character, but there's not a ton to kind of get deeply attached to his character. There's enough that it's like, damn, that sucks, it's gonna die, but it's like the difference between like that and look at someone like Yami. Like, people, like, Yami dies, people are going to be in tears. Like, stuff like that. Like, deaths that, there's a difference between, like, a death that's very serious and a death that is obviously built in way more to emotionally impact the readers, you know? Whereas, like, even if you weren't a fan of just looking back on Julius, like, Julius's character, we didn't get a ton of Julius up at the point where we thought he was going to die. Not even going to talk about, like, obviously the Swallowtail stuff and whatnot. But, like, when he, you know, quote-unquote died, when we thought he died, you could either look at it from, like, you know, maybe if someone is a big fan of Julius, they did really like his character, were upset. But even if, say, like, you were somebody who just didn't care about his character at all, you would still have to think of, like, the impacts with the death of somebody his caliber and, like, what it would mean. Gaja dying literally means, like, the Heart Kingdom has nothing. Like, they have no real fighting force anymore. And the Spirit Guardians can do stuff against, like, lower-level people, but we know that, like, anybody of, like, character value now is not going to be defeated by the Spirit Guardians. Maybe the Spirit Guardians altogether could defeat, like, a fairly powerful bad guy, but I don't really think so. Like, if all the Spirit Guardians came together and were, like, a match for base Vonica, or maybe, like, for right into Devil power Vonica, I could say, like, okay, cool, because, you know, then stuff comes into, like, teamwork and power compatibility, and maybe they've got, like, combo attacks and whatever. But, like, beyond that, like, when you start getting to, like, actual, like, boss fight characters, I don't think they can do anything. And that's one of the reasons I think that after this arc, all four of the kingdoms on that continent are going to unite, and then maybe we can start seeing stuff off of the continent. But anyway, I did really like some of the small bits of information that we got during the chapter, just from Magicula's standpoint. When Magicula's talking about, like, just the whole first part, the point in that whole first, like, speech she gave is that I found important is when she was saying that her decaying world is all over the area that they're in, and even if somebody showed up, they would be, you know, that it wouldn't really matter as much because they'd be under the effects of it. But if Gaja just blasted away Decaying World, and maybe she can't activate it for X amount of time, when she, you know, assuming she's going to be fighting next chapter, somebody can show up and then they could have more, more reinforcements. Like, he made an opening for more people to arrive and to help them. But anyway, yeah, it was a short chapter. We only got 11 pages. I definitely really liked it, just the general idea. Like, if he killed Vonica and made Megicula more powerful in the process, I'm gonna be a little bit mad at Tabata. It's gonna make sense. Obviously, it's gonna be really cool from the bad guy's perspective, but it'll be like, there has to be a W in there for Gaja. Like, there has to be something that, because of Gaja's death, that would make it, that would give it like a lot of like satisfaction in how it happens. Like, say, because of that, like his death combined with like weakening Megicula's power, maybe Megicula loses hold on Lolopechka, and Lolopechka is able to kind of like regain her senses and then still have like the devil power that she's got right now. I think that would be really cool. I think that'd be really sick, and then we can have like a devil messed with person in this fight against Megicula, because I don't really see Vonica having a lot of value right now in the fight. Like, if she is alive, I don't really see what she would possibly do for the rest of this fight. If we just saw that and then Megicula's still raring to go, because other characters are going to have to show up, like Dorothy, Nozel, all the people and speculating them. And at that point, I don't really know what Vonica would possibly do in the state she's in. Like, her best bet would be it would pretty much just be a Megicula minion, kind of like how Vonica had her Dark Disciples. But I feel like Megicula would be perfectly fine just letting her die. She's not going to buff her up with like that revival curse that the Dark Disciples have, because we know that Megicula wants Vonica dead, so she can fully get one step closer to fully manifesting. After that point, she'll only really have Lolopechka. But anyway, other than that though, comment below, thumbs up the video, befriend, like button, subscribe button, check out my other videos. But other than that, I appreciate everybody who's already subscribed, and thank you all for listening. Bye.